Hey everyone, I just wanted to quickly do a small devlog talking about the game that I've been working on over the past couple of months. Right now this doesn't really have a name. I kind of personally refer to it as my Tesla Coil game because that's kind of the main selling point, is that you are a Tesla coil who goes around and shoots lightning bolts, and enemies can spawn and you'll go ahead and shoot some lightning bolts at these enemies. The lightning bolts are somewhat randomly generated, and basically what I have done is instituted a little bit of a random walk with kind of a real-to-life physics simulation, i.e. each of these enemies has a attraction parameter associated with it, and so when you shoot lightning bolts, they're ultimately going to be somewhat attracted to the enemies that spawn as if they have some sort of electromagnetic charge. And that can be seen additionally if I go ahead and add a lightning rod to my scene. You can see that it's almost always going to try to pull in some of your lightning bolts. So right now this is just a pretty solid prototype that I've made. I've added a couple of different enemies. Right now I'm just in my basic gameplay test scene, and I've made this so that I can easily add a whole bunch of parameters and different special upgrades that I've made to easily test some of my gameplay and run through a whole bunch of different scenarios. So I'll just go ahead and I'll show you just some of our enemies. We've got our basic enemies. Right now they're just red squares, nothing super special about them, but that's what they look like. In addition, we also have tank enemies. These are bigger red squares, but they move significantly slower and they have a little bit more health that you need to deal with. We also have some orbiter enemies, and these enemies are small circles that move around the player in a circle, and you need to go ahead and shoot all of them, and they'll get a little bit slower as they get closer to you, so you have a better chance of killing them. If you notice, right when they spawn all the way out here, they're actually incredibly difficult to kind of get shots onto them. We also have a dart enemy, pretty typical, just regular enemy, except they move straight at the player and they move significantly faster. And lastly, we have some sort of teleporter enemy, and so what these guys do is that they'll teleport to a new position 100 pixels closer to the player every certain time frame. That time frame in the actual game is a little bit dynamic, and they start teleporting a little bit faster as the game goes on. So now to talk about some of the lightning parameters. This is kind of the main selling point. We have this forked lightning, and basically it starts a random walk, and at every new segment there is a branch chance. Right now it's set at 3% of creating a new lightning bolt. Right now only the parent lightning bolt is able to actually spawn child lightning bolts. Childs cannot spawn additional childs. Just because I was running into a little bit of performance issues, I can probably clean that up and make it a little bit more dynamic in the future. But we can go ahead and increase the max splits, so you can see that we're now getting more. Actually, I can probably just bump this up even more, and you can see that we're getting more lightning getting to spawn. And all of these lightning parameters are basic parameters that you'll be able to purchase with currency inside of the main game. So we also have things like jaggedness, which makes your lightning significantly more chaotic, and this could be considered just like a basic debuff or risk reward type of thing. We also have some crit chance and some crit damage, so I'm just going to bump this up really high, and you can spawn a bunch of enemies, and you can, that little ding that you're hearing is the little crit noise. And we also have some damage numbers on the enemy. I'm just going to spawn a couple more. The little yellow numbers that you're seeing are like the classic notification of a critical hit. So we'll go ahead and clear all of those out. So we also have just some basic knockback. So if we want to spawn some basic enemies, we can go ahead and, I think their health is a little bit too low. So I'll go ahead, add that, add a bunch more. You can see that they get pushed to the edges when they get hit. Now, the fun part, I'm trying to make this a little bit of a Vampire Survivors-y, Brotato, Megabonk-esque game where you'll end up getting some of these special upgrades that'll significantly change how the game is going to work. So I'll lower some of these parameters a little bit, make it a little bit more obvious of what's going on. So the first one I want to detail is Explosive Death. Exactly what it sounds like. You kill an enemy, they explode on death. The little orange circles is just the little notification of death. We also have Explosive Split, so whenever your lightning splits, it will also create little explosions. These explosions the damage for these explosions is based off of your base lightning damage. We also have some chain lightning, so I'll go ahead and spawn a whole bunch of enemies here. And you can see some of these purple lightning bolts that are basically going to find other enemies when you hit any enemies. There's a base chance of this happening, but because we have so many lightning bolts, you're seeing so much lightning coming off in the chain lightning. We also have burning lightning. I'm going to bump this up to something stupid high and spawn one enemy. And so once we hit them, you can see this little number right here that is slowly applying a debuff, just kind of like a basic damage over time effect to the enemy that can stack a little bit. We also have ricocheting walls, so now you can see that whenever my lightning hits one of the walls, it'll split off in a yellow lightning bolt that deals a percentage of your base damage. And then I also wanted to go ahead and add some additional upgrades related to the lightning rods. So I'm thinking of putting these in the game as some sort of blocker at times, but you can also use them to your advantage. So like if you add the dispersion field, when you hit a lightning, it'll spawn like a little pool that when enemies walk into it, they'll take damage. So you can see that they're getting some damage from the dispersion field. And then additionally, we have rod lasers, so now all of our lightning rods are kind of acting as like little towers in a tower defense aspect and are actually shooting our enemies for us. And the last other upgrade that I've made is what I call the arc stabilizer, and all this does is under the hood, it's basically just setting our jaggedness to 0, and it's just making all of our lightning shoot in a straight line. I'm actually thinking of maybe using this as a different quote-unquote character like you would see in some of these other games where we have significant changes to the behavior of our underlying lightning that will ultimately affect how it is. So I'm thinking this is actually significantly harder to control because there's actually no attraction. You can see I'll spawn a couple of enemies. These lightning bolts are not attracted to enemies or lightning rods whatsoever, so it's actually significantly harder to aim, but it's a little bit more predictable, so there is a little bit of a trade-off there. But I think you could kind of balance that out by just increasing the damage that enemies end up taking. So that's just kind of my gameplay test scene that I've created. I'm now going to go ahead and show you guys the main game. And so it's pretty straightforward. You start off with just some base parameters and a single lightning rod is spawned, but you'll have a couple enemies spawn and you ultimately just try to live for as many rounds as you can. The rounds are in about 30-second increments, and so you'll go through a round, try to kill as many enemies as you can, and every enemy that you kill is going to give you a amount of currency. And so once the round ends, you're hit with a shop screen. And so here we can buy additional base upgrades. So right now I'm given 3 options of kind of the 9 or 10 that I've programmed already. So right now these are too expensive, so I'm just going to buy some lightning damage. Alright, so now I can't buy any of these other ones because I haven't earned enough currency yet. The balance for the economy isn't really solid yet. That's something that I need to work on a little bit, but I bought some lightning damage, so now my lightning is a little stronger, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the next round. And now we're going to start getting some more enemies, and from the base level right now, all 5 of my enemy types are able to be spawned, so I'm just going to, we'll see if we can get some of those. Oh, look, there's a teleporter. Knocked him out super quick. But one of the things that I was trying to implement with this is a basic risk reward. So if you end up killing more than one enemy, actually hold up, before I get into that I'll just purchase some more things. So I'm going to buy some cooldown duration. Oops, I can buy some crit chance. Alright, I'm now out of money again. Alright, so we'll go ahead and go into the next round. So if you end up killing more than one enemy with a single lightning bolt, you'll actually get extra bonus points from that. So you're kind of incentivized to get chain kills. For those that actually care, it's a logarithmic function, so you'll get the log of the number of enemies killed times the total base health that you ended up taking. So try not to die. Like I said, the balance is a little meh right now, but I can load this up again and have some flags and a script that I've made that lets me pretty easily set up some initial parameters like our currency and our special upgrades. So I'll set this to, okay, oops, that's the gameplay test. Let me go back to the main game. Okay, so now we're starting on round 5. We have 10,000 currency, so we can buy some more upgrades and some upgrade circuits. So I'll buy some knockback, some attraction strength, the size of my other upgrades, some more knockback. Let's get some damage while we're here, some accuracy. I'm just going to kind of, you guys get the gist. I'm just going to go through and buy some upgrades. But as you can see, we've bought a bunch of knockback already. We started at 0, we're now at 30, and it's a little bit of exponential growth. So right now the knockback is getting significantly more expensive, but you're going to end up getting significantly more points when you start getting some chain kills as well. So we'll just go through. Okay, I think I'm good. Next round. So every 3 or 4 rounds I'm trying to institute a special upgrade for the user. So right now we have the choice between explosive death and dispersion field. I'm currently calling these like quote-unquote upgrade circuits. So I'll go ahead, I'll buy explosive death right now. So now in the main game we're dealing some more damage, but when enemies die they'll create a little explosion around them that'll damage the other enemies. We got some knockback, so we can kind of crowd control them a little bit. So yeah, this is kind of the prototype that I've made a little bit. Like I've said, I'm trying to set this up as a little bit of a Vampire Survivor slash Rotato slash Mega Bonk clone. And so I'm curious what y'all think of this so far. I'm going to continue to work on this over the next couple of weeks. So far I've probably spent a little bit over a month on this, but game dev is something that's entirely new for me. I professionally work as a software engineer, so game dev is kind of an entirely different beast for me. I'm used to traditionally living inside of my terminal and just like a classic IDE, and so I'm not entirely sure on best practices for game design, but I feel like I've gotten pretty far with some of this. So I'm going to continue updating you guys on some dev logs as I continue to make progress. Right now I'm kind of, in the next couple of editions, I'm going to focus on adding some more juice to the game. Like right now it's pretty stale and static, so I'm going to work on adding some more sound effects, maybe some sound effects for the enemies, maybe some particle effects for when the enemies get hit, and adding like a more customized font than just this basic font that we see for all of the damage numbers and the health numbers, and make it more colorful and vibrant. But also, if y'all have any ideas on some additional special upgrades that you think could be pretty fun. I've been playing a couple of these games trying to get some inspiration, but I thought I'd just query the audience as well if y'all have any thoughts. And some additional enemy types. I've tried to make a pretty solid system for myself to easily add new enemy types, so if y'all have any ideas on some fun additions, I'm all ears and would love to hear it. And I'm also trying to figure out some sort of theming for this. Like, I don't want to keep the enemies just these basic geometric shapes forever, so if y'all have any ideas on some sort of fun theme, like right now I'm basically thinking of stuff like bugs, like insects, like you're zapping insects with lightning. I'd love to hear it. Like, the red enemies could just be your classic fire ant or something, and the orbiters could be something like roly-polies, and the tanks could be just like big old beetles that you have to worry about, and the darters could be little hornets or bees that fly super fast. But yeah, this is my little prototype, so I'm curious to see what y'all think, and I'll continue to upload every couple of days or so on some progress. And if you guys are curious to see how things go along, feel free to subscribe and you'll get updates as they come out. Appreciate it. Cheers.